Hello! Welcome to another episode of Manga Monday. I am Jason Hahn, and today we're talking about Chainsaw Man, chapter 107. We really picked up right where we left off last time, getting right into Yuko's assault on the school, trying to lure Chainsaw Man out, or just trying to get some bullies out, and War Devil's trying to get Chainsaw Man out. But hey, we'll iron it all out. We'll talk about this new chapter. But again, I am Jason Hahn. I'm a writer for ScreenRant.com. I happen to write a lot of video game related stuff, but I'm a huge manga fan. So we started Manga Monday to talk about the new chapters of series we love, and to talk about Chainsaw Man, I got a couple buddies with me. Steven, how you doing, man?
Hey, good. Yeah, my name is Steven. I work for the comics, manga, anime side of Screen Rant for a while, and been really loving Chainsaw Man. So excited to talk about Chapter 107.
Yeah, 107 was a lot of fun. The anime is also going full force right now. We're 2 episodes in, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit, a little bit later as well. But we also got Ben. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm Ben. I'm also a writer for Screen Rant for the comics and anime manga sections. And I really enjoy Chainsaw Man, so I'm really loving that it's weekly and we get to talk about it each week. Because a lot happens each chapter, and this chapter's no exception. And there's some developments that I find very funny in this.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure like how brutal this was gonna get, but I was actually really happy to see like the Justice Devil, who is currently possessing or using Yuko, Mitaka's friend, to exact revenge on bullies that have made Mitaka's life less fun. And of course, Mitaka, being possessed by the War Devil, is trying to lure Chainsaw Man out. Or specifically, the War Devil's trying to do that. So it's kind of creating this like awkward tension throughout this chapter, because both of them have their own goals, but they're trying to sort of like mitigate. It's interesting because every devil that we've seen just rampage just doesn't care about human life and is just okay with sweeping a whole group of people off the face of the earth. But it was kind of refreshing to see like Yuko like reacting to like when Mitaka would like, or War Devil would like dodge something, she's like, oh, that's cool. Or she's only wanting to like hurt people that she has deemed, shitty or not worth it, essentially, or mean. So she sees like a whole group of people, and she's not just destroying the whole hallway. Which is just it's an interesting, refreshing dynamic in this like devil battle, because I feel like everything else, especially when Denji shows up, it's just, we have a lot of collateral damage here. like, but I was really enjoying that the Justice Devil is like still has Yuko's personality in here, so we're getting a lot of fun dialogue back and forth between them. And that's really something I've wanted more from the series. It's just like more articulate devils. Like devils actually, instead of just being evil jerks, they're actually having some personality and stuff like that. But getting to see them battle it out in school, and then getting to see the Devil Hunter Club actually doing something, or trying at least. And there was a good part of the chapter. I was just like, are they about to win this thing?
And that was my favorite part of the chapter, just seeing the Devil Hunter Club go into action. Because it is sort of that classic manga sort of thing where it's like, oh, these characters have shown up and are able to take down or fight the new threat. You're like, ooh, what are these guys gonna do? And then the Justice Devil just takes them down.
When she starts trying.
Even though they look cool, they're, I don't know, one of them's got, like, brass knuckles, one of them's got a crossbow. Like, they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, I really...
You do a pretty good job, though, at the beginning. Like, I was, like you were saying, Jason, I was like, wow, are these kids actually going to do this? So, yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, we got a couple pages of them building up the confidence that these devil hunters, devil hunter trainees or these students might actually like be able to hold their weight. Um, and then Yuko is just like, "You guys are bullies." Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and just I deem you mean now. And they just we get like a one page of just them all getting obliterated.
And
Well,
what's crazy too, what I think is funny is that they have a freaking button for when a devil attacks. Like it's like, oh, we have something just in case this happens. Boop, and an automatic message goes out. I think that was hilarious.
yeah, I mean, it honestly like it kind of gave me extra context for the world that we'd brought up in previous podcasts. Actually, is just how we were wondering
Yeah.
if Fujimoto was going to be tackling like the whole school violence issue that is plaguing a lot of countries, especially America. And this is kind of a delicate situation or a delicate experience or just subject material, I guess is the best way to put it. And he is still like managing to add humor and not make it like super disturbing, at least for me personally. Um, but just
Yeah.
the whole idea that their society has just gotten so used to devil attacks that they literally have like exits and plans and stuff like that. It almost makes me wonder, like, I'd have to go back to the beginning of the series probably and reread it, but like how long society has been having to like just be okay that devils are going to be killing a huge percentage of people. Because I know just a few chapters ago, a guy was yelling on the street that wasn't it like 1 in 3 or 1 in 5 people are all killed by devils.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I
and,
mean,
and
it
also,
has.
and that goes off to your earlier point too, Jason. I mean, it's like he was saying these horrible statistics, and no one really cared, and it kind of just goes into this whole thing that there's a button there. It's another part of life. It's what unfortunately people in Japan have to deal with in this fictional world.
Well, people all over because devils don't just exist in Japan. They
Oh,
exist all over the
that's true.
world.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, didn't Gun Devil like I think the series began with like them saying like Devil like ravaged throughout America in like the span of like a few seconds, killed
yeah.
like
That
hundreds
was
of thousands of people.
yeah. That was the one where they had that shot of it was just the names and places of the people he
I thought
killed.
that was later. I thought that was when the Gun Devil, was coming after Makima. Uh, I thought when it was first introduced, it was like it was just talking about the places it like destroyed and the amount of seconds it took to do that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I'm not sure which time it took place, but yeah, I'm very curious to know like how long. And honestly, I hope that we eventually get into the origins on how this all started too. Which
I mean,
most mangas do eventually.
I feel like Chainsaw Man might not because it seems like it's been going on. I mean, it's been going on since at least the 1930s, 1940s, for sure, because the whole Nazi devil thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's talked about how there were all these things in the world that Chainsaw Man just got rid of, and I feel
Yeah.
like if you
Oh, right.
have like an origin sort of thing, it would be kind of weird because Fujimoto would have to kind of show those sorts of things, like having different things that could happen to you if you don't die, like instead of dying. I think greatly changes how society operates.
Hmm.
So it could be kind of weird if it's like this is the origin of devils, because the world will just look so different at that point.
Well,
Right.
also too, I mean, it's just like the fact though that they're based on fears. It's like fears have been there since the very beginning of
Yeah,
time. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
like, I mean, maybe just everything, you know, there's just devils have always been there,
Yeah,
basically.
as
That's
long
be
as fear has
definitely.
existed, devils have existed as well. Would be
Yeah.
pretty interesting. Maybe we'll get a flashback of caveman times and the first devil manifesting themselves from fear of cold or something. I don't know. I think
Fear of
that.
clothes.
Well, I think that would be really cool, actually. Like, we eventually explore like the oldest devil, like the first
Well, that would be
primal
cool.
fear.
Yeah, I would like that. Yeah, whatever the first, probably just be fear.
Yeah, the
But
fear of fear. um, but yeah, so I thought that was a really interesting idea, just getting more context into how the world has just gotten used to this, and so they do the best that they can to prevent it. But what do you do? Pretty much like is the way that they've accepted all these like attacks and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm glad to see that one of my theories kind of paid off that we had in the last Chainsaw Man podcast. Which, by the way, if you haven't listened to any of our previous Mega Manga Monday podcasts, we've talked about a lot of the last few chapters, probably the last like 10 chapters of Chainsaw Man. We also talk about One Piece, Dragon Ball Super, Jujutsu Kaisen, all kinds of stuff. So check those out. But in our last Chainsaw Man discussion, as soon as Yuko was saying, like, I can read your mind, so there's not really any use fighting me. It's just like, well, I don't know. War Devil kind of has a other personality with Mitaka, too, so if she's able to, like, switch her personality, I wonder if, like, Yuko is still going to be able to read her mind. Which, at the end of the chapter, it's revealed she does switch, and it does seem like she's still able to read her mind, but, of course, we get that, like, whole classic manga anime cliffhanger. It's just like, wait, you're not thinking that, are you?
hmm.
But what do you guys? Well, I don't know if we want to go ahead and jump into what we think will happen next, or what was some other things about this chapter that stood out for you guys?
Well, I'll actually just say, trying to think of how I'm going to word this, is that before Fujimoto has pushed some limits on things that it's like, oh wow, you actually went there type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially I think one of the things that really impacted me the most was during part one when Power is having that mental breakdown. And I think I've talked about it on previous podcasts, but it was just very realistic of how people deal with trauma and how it can manifest. So I mean, he has definitely been exploring. I don't want to say taboo, but very delicate subject matters. And when I was going into this chapter, I mean, I know there was like some hesitation on what it would be like, and like I don't want to say I was underwhelmed, but I was expecting it to be much more gruesome,
Mm-hmm.
just because of what just what the implications were of what that last chapter was saying. Like just that whole thing about school shootings. I mean, again, it's a very delicate subject, but I was expecting to be shocked. So I mean, I guess for a lot of people, it's like a kind of like a sigh of relief, just because
Yeah,
I mean, it is a horrible thing.
me.
But and it's something that we have to deal with every day, and it's really terrifying. But it's like one of those things where it's like, oh wow, I was expecting a lot more. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. It's just what I felt at the time.
I feel like it captures the whole feel of a school shooting well,
Um,
even though it's not grotesque. And because, I mean, of course, there's this fight going on, but I don't know, just seeing the one of the girls like get their head slammed into a wall and collapsing that way,
Mm-hmm.
like it reminded me of like if you get shot in the head with like a gun, right? Just collapsing on the floor while everyone runs away. Like I don't know, I thought that seemed pretty true to the actual phenomenon behind it. Uh, so
oh, I
I
mean,
don't think it needed.
there definitely was
Yeah,
aspects of it. Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
for sure.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think it needed to go more gruesome. I think if it
No,
went too
no.
gruesome, it would have been in bad taste. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's
so it's good that Fujimoto.
I agree with Steven here. Like I was definitely thinking that I was going to like be uncomfortable with this, but I feel like the way Fujimoto like designed it and the flow of this
And
chapter especially.
the humor too.
Yeah, just throwing the humor and like I mean, if this whole circumstance had started from like the perspective of the students, then it probably would have
Oh,
been a lot more
Jesus.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's just Fujimoto did a really, really good job of like, and I'm one of those people that's relieved that how he balanced this from not making it too like disturbing or traumatic. uh, but the bits are still there, obviously. But I'm just glad that we didn't focus on, uh, the students trying to have a normal day. Us sticking with War Devil and Justice Devil, especially War Devil, just consistently like, oh, this is the best weapon I can do. Oh, damn, that sucks. And I think my favorite part of the chapter might have been Justice Devil saying, like, I can read your mind. I know that you have traps under the floorboards, you have
That's
weapons in
kind
the
of cool, though.
bathrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of got me thinking, I was like, well, no, that there's no way she could have had that all set up for this instance because they literally just had the conversation and all of that. So
Well,
I was almost thinking that she's had this all set up for
Yeah, for a
to
while. Yeah.
well,
for a
there's a
while.
day of prep, right? Because she said don't come to school tomorrow, so
Yeah.
you did have time to go back to the school and set
And
things up.
and also too, just going off what you're saying, like offsetting the disturbing aspects of it. I think that the ending of the previous chapter, 106, kind of helped melt that tension because so 106 it ended with the confrontation between War Devil and the Justice Devil, and that is very stereotypical, manga type of thing where it's like the one-on-one battle. If there wasn't a standoff, I think then it would have been much worse, just because there was that buffer from the Justice Devil just going in and massacring everyone.
Hmm.
So I think that was probably the main buffer that allowed him to do this in a more tasteful way. At least for me, just because when 106 ended, I'm like, oh, this is where this is going. It's not going to be as intense as it could have been.
Yeah, and I think it really helped with the parallels too, because it's one of those things where we're wondering, like, okay, how much of this is Yuko and how much of it is the Justice Devil? And getting to see that whole scene where it was Yuko and War Devil, like, having that talk before this all starts, it's just like helping us solidify that it's like, no, this is still like Yuko. Yuko is still there. It's just Justice Devil is like using her and maybe accentuating some of her, worst thoughts. But if it had just started with Justice Devil being transformed and tearing through things, then it would just be like, oh, okay, this is just like another devil attack. But getting to see her go from like, I'm here to help Mitaka, and then Mitaka steps forward, War Devil, and they're just like, okay, well, if I'm gonna have to do this, I'm gonna have to do this. Like seeing her take that step was monumental in this Justice Devil character for this chapter.
Right.
It absolutely would have been a different feel if we just jumped right to transform Justice Devil like hunting down the bullies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and too, I mean, and like it is great, like the fact how Fujimoto has designed it, where who is in control. Like the War Devil is in control when you see Mitaka with the scars, and then when you see Mitaka without the scars, like, oh, that is Mitaka,
mhm.
type of thing. And I think it would actually be so intense. Like it won't change anything, but I'm kind of hoping that later down the line, when Mitaka just gets more involved and is fighting more devils, if she gets her own scars, I think that would be really intense. Like it kind of like, not saying that she's becoming evil, but like it kind of like show that how much she's changing. She's starting to look like the War Devil when the War Devil possesses her. So that's something
Well,
I'm looking forward to.
it's
To see
interesting
that's,
because the War Devil scars are her own scars, right? From
that's
when
right from when she got
she,
attacked. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm curious to see if she does get more scars, if they'll also sort of fade when she's in control and only show up when the War Devil is there.
Well,
Mm.
and also, I mean, we've never seen Mitaka like actually fighting. She tried to run away and save Yuko, but that's the difference between like her and Denji, especially when we're like watching the anime right now, getting to see the beginning of Denji's whole journey. Is I mean, he'll still try to fight before totally transforming into like Chainsaw Man, but uh, yeah, we haven't really seen Mitaka like actively trying to do anything combat wise. And I don't know if that's what's about to happen, but I mean, she has no training or anything like that, so I don't have high expectations for that. But it would be a pretty cool surprise to see her like start trying to, I guess, level up her own ability to like keep herself safe. But I mean, there's not really anybody like hunting her specifically. She is the hunter. So I don't know why she would necessarily need to train. It's just something I would like to see, I guess.
No, I know. I definitely agree with that. And you mentioned Chainsaw Man anime, so I don't know if now is a good time to segue. Um, do we want to keep on talking about the chapter or talking about the anime? Because I have something I want to talk about.
I mean, I'm good with the anime because I feel like this chapter was mainly fighting, so
Mm-hmm.
there's not really much else that I want to talk about in it. So
Okay,
Right.
yeah, I was going to ask if there's anything else about this chapter you guys wanted to bring up, but yeah, we could totally jump into the anime. I
But
guess just final thoughts on this chapter. I like the pencil spears, and from my experience in reading Bleach, that girl who got impaled by the trident could still be alive.
oh man,
well, the girl who got knocked out the window, I think, is probably still alive.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and I think Knuckles guy, bare knuckle or brass knuckles guy, just had an eye taken out. So
yeah,
hopefully the Devil Fighting Club is still strong, but they definitely have some more openings now. So that's good news.
yeah.
oh,
Well,
gee.
openings is in holes, yes, but I
Oh
think that they
my!
actually might all be alive because even the guy who's impaled through like the stomach is like on the
Well done,
ground.
gentlemen. That was
So
great.
yeah,
Well, hey, earlier we were talking about we need people to join the Devil Hunter Club, and hey, we have more openings now, so
Some
that's
openings.
good. But yeah, I guess we can go ahead and jump into the anime. Well, actually, what do you guys hope will happen next? What do you think Mitaka um, has on her mind that has Yuko so spooked?
Um, well, I don't know what it is. I haven't given it much thought, but kind of going off what you were saying before, Jason, I hope it's that it's something logical. I don't want to say logical, but it's like not something over the top where she actually does fighting or something like that. I would really love to see it more being this less um, like attackful type of response, if that makes sense. Something not as violent, something that's more laid back, if that makes sense.
see, I'm the opposite because I think it would be really neat because you're not Yoru, but the Justice Devil is basically doing this all for Mitaka, and like she's like, okay, Mitaka will be like a passive observer of this. I'm going to deal with Mitaka's bullies. But if Mitaka starts fighting Justice Devil, the Justice Devil might be forced to treat Mitaka like a bully, and then it's sort of like all for naught, right?
Hmm.
Mm.
Uh,
I
and
almost
it'd be cool to
wonder.
see.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought you were done.
no,
Go
you
ahead.
go.
Oh,
I think it'd be cool to see the Justice Devil grapple with that
hmm.
while trying to fend her off. So
Just slapping her.
yeah, like stop it.
Stop that! Stop it!
Yeah,
Well, yeah, I almost feel like Mitaka could easily diffuse the situation, especially because like the bullies are dead. So
no,
like,
there's still one left.
oh right, one escaped. Um, well, yeah, I almost wonder like if this could be the end of the fight. Like Justice Devil just reverts back to Yuko, or maybe Mitaka is like thinking of ending. I it's kind of a taboo, and
Are you going to do it? I'm wondering if you're going there because I'm thinking it. I don't know if
oh,
you
I
are.
don't know. Do you think she might try as she's thinking about ending herself,
Yeah.
unaliving herself?
Yeah. That could be one possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost wonder if that's what she's thinking to stop the whole situation, and Yuko is just like, no, you can't do that. Like,
Well, and just thinking it, like she won't have to act on it, but just thinking it could be.
yeah, yeah.
Well, no, but if she was just thinking it as part of a plan to weird out the
Then she would
Justice
know.
Devil,
Yeah.
then she would know. So she'd be like,
Ooh.
you know, um,
Yeah, that is the problem with having this type of a power. It kind of limits the possibilities.
Well, and
Um,
it's something that I haven't seen in a lot of like I have the power to read minds. Just like, well, there's consistently things that I think about that I never act on. So
yeah.
she could just be thinking, really anything and not act on it to spook the Justice Devil, which I think would be a pretty cool resolution to this. Is
yeah, but most of the time when you think of something and don't act on it, you think of it like as if you're considering doing it, right? But if Mitaka was purposely doing this sort of thing, then she would know that she was not actually doing it, even though it was in her mind. Whereas, at least with me, when I have like a thought that just pops into my head, even if it's something absurd, I'm like, my mind considers it, and I'm like, nah, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah,
As
that's
opposed to just knowing the entire time that I'm not going to do it.
yeah, that's one of the problems with this type of power, this all-knowing thing. It's like, yeah, I kind of limit your possibilities here. Um, yeah. So I guess we'll have to see. But I really I don't know. Like you're saying, it is very taboo. I don't know if yeah, I don't
uh,
know.
well, I almost would love it if like the whole situation de-escalates. Mitaka and Yuko have like hugged it out, and they're like, okay, we should probably get out of here. And then Denji shows up, or and then
Oh, that would actually, that actually wouldn't be that bad. Like, I was kind of saying, like, I want them to not make up, but at the same time, if Denji comes in and sees the Justice Devil's like, oh man, I gotta kill you, and then kills her, then that would just make Mitaka hate Chainsaw Man even more. Because, if they had like, oh man, I was wrong, let's hug it out,
Mhm.
type of things. Like, that would actually, I wouldn't mind that. That would add a lot of tension
Well,
between
I
Mitaka and
I
Chainsaw. Yeah.
I feel like if there's a reconciliation between Mitaka and Yuko, it's just going to be Yuko becoming a weapon, like a talking or sentient weapon that Mitaka carries around. But I
Please.
feel like I feel like she's done things that she can't just go back to being like the friend character, right?
Oh,
Mhm.
true.
Well, that's what would be so cool, though. Like, because you can't just come back to it, but like, if there's that moment where they're reconciling, like they're beginning to reconcile, it's like, oh, things are gonna be all sunshine and roses, even though they won't be. But then Chainsaw Man comes and ruins everything.
Yeah.
No, I
Right?
don't think Mitaka would even start that reconciliation sort of thing, unless it was specifically to turn Yuko into a weapon.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of see like to de-escalate the situation. I could see Mitaka being like, "Thank you for."
Because Mitaka's not; she's just a regular person at the same time. It's like,
Yeah,
and
but I mean, if she was planning on doing that, then Yuko wouldn't be like, "What are you thinking?" She'd be like, "Ah, okay, you do appreciate me doing this or something," or like,
Yeah.
"Oh, wow, I can't believe that you'd use my friendship like that," because she'd be able to read the mind to know it was a scheme.
it's like the
Right?
Care Bears. Don't use that power.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Or
Don't
she's
make
like,
But
don't
"No,
make me care for you.
you
How
can't.
dare you?"
How dare you? How can you can't use the power of friendship against me? No." Uh, well, I don't know. I still think that there might be a way where it could all work.
That's
Where
awesome.
I think that she might, threaten to unalive herself.
Yeah.
And then that de-escalates the situation, and then as soon as you think everything is calming down, either Chainsaw Man shows up immediately or Denji shows up and transforms into Chainsaw Man in front of Mitaka. I think either way, or Yoshida shows up and none of that happens, but I think it'd be
None of
really,
that.
really cool if of course, if Denji shows up, then that would be a whole a whole can of worms exploding. But if Chainsaw Man shows up, already transforms, and he kills Yuko Chainsaw Devil in front of Mitaka, then that would give Mitaka a reason to finally start maybe working with the War Devil more cooperatively in the goal of taking down Chainsaw Man.
Yes, I agree. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Oh man, what was I gonna say? I forgot. Sorry. Keep going.
Oh, it's cool. So yeah, it really depends. Like, I would love it if if Denji shows up and Mitaka actively gets to see him transform into Chainsaw Man, then that would just raise all the tension on all the aspects of this story. But I almost feel like if Chainsaw Man just shows up immediately, then we can still have that tension of her not knowing Denji is Chainsaw Man.
See, I feel like if Mitaka sees Denji transform into Chainsaw Man, that would actually lower the tension because there's not the whole "will she find out?" Is he gonna? It'll just be like, oh, she knows now, so like she can prepare for that, I guess.
Good point.
You know what I think would be funny though, just because before when Yuko and Mitaka were getting attacked originally by the bat-like devil, like we were all thinking it better be Yoshida coming and it better not be Denji, but it ends up being Denji. And now we're at the point where, man, it would be better for the story if Denji came in like as Chainsaw Man, because then that would raise the stakes. Now instead we're gonna get Yoshida. You know what? I bet it's gonna be Yoshida. I'm going with Yoshida.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm putting my money on that. I'm doing it.
It's coming full circle.
But yeah, I mean, it's regardless what happens, I'll say it again, I am enjoying this a lot more than I thought I would. But then again, with the anime out, I'm re-falling in love with Denji again. So like I've been happy that Denji has been in the background in this last part. But then again, now that I'm seeing Denji in the anime, I kind of want him to come back again because I'm like remembering, like I've always remembered like why he was great, but just seeing him is like making it so it's like, oh, you know what? I kind of want Denji back now.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like a lot of
that noodle slurping scene.
We'll get to it.
I feel like some of our frustration when Denji returned and was like acting the way he sort of was at the beginning was because we had seen him go on this journey.
Yes.
And like grow.
Yeah.
Whereas at the beginning, it's a much more acceptable sort of thing because he hasn't gone through that journey yet. So I think that the anime is doing a great job at making him like sympathetic.
My God. Absolutely.
They're doing it better than the manga. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I
agree. I think
fun.
the anime is like a 10 out of 10 adaptation. So should we just jump into that?
Oh yeah, this is a great transition into the anime. So far, we've got only 2 episodes under our belt. Very excited for the third one. But yeah, I completely agree. I even though the anime has kind of condensed certain things and removed certain situations from the manga, pacing wise, animation wise, writing wise, even like there's quite a few scenes that I didn't remember happening in the manga, and it might have just been a while since I've read it, but did they have the whole like noodle scene? And I think my favorite part of it. Okay, my favorite part of it was are you able to
slurp?
Well, it led into that. It was the are you strong enough to eat? Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Just seeing Denji like think about it, because it's like one of the first times we've seen him have like a second layer of thought instead of just being like reacting to what's happening in front of him.
He's actually thinking.
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed that they, skipped the whole him finding a girl in the forest and it just ended up being a devil. I mean, I enjoyed that part in the manga, but pacing wise, I thought that all worked. I was really anxious for them to introduce Aki and Power, and being able to do that all in the same episode. I also don't remember Denji kicking Aki in the nuts like 10 times in a row.
Oh, that happened.
Yeah, it
that
does
that
happen.
was
It's
hard
just
to
we don't
watch.
see it. We just don't see it 10 times. Like we just yeah.
That's
In,
a
in,
that's a
in the
big part.
anime, seeing it happen, it's like, oh my goodness gracious, ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
No, but that's an important
Stop.
part because later on, when they kick the Katana Devil over and over again in the nuts, like it's a callback to this scene.
I remember
Uh,
that. I remember
Oh
that.
man,
So,
I didn't realize that until just now. I'm dumb.
no, but I will say though, like pacing wise, it made sense, like removing the muscle devil, that whole thing. But and I wrote an article about this. But the one thing that's now lost by not including that is a really important development for Denji. So just because it's more of a 180 in his character, because but before and like so both the manga and the anime they have it where Denji is beginning to question Makima. He's like, "Wow, I thought she was such a nice person. She gave me a hug, and now she's saying all these horrible things. Like, holy crap! Like maybe she's not a nice person." And then in the anime he falls into her boobs and he's like, I love you type of thing. But in the manga took it a step further, because when he is first going to the muscle devil and he first sees it, he thinks it's just the girl and the devil and their friends. It's not just the fact that he sees himself and his relationship with Pochita and them. He's actually like willing to run away from Makima. He's like, let's run away together. And it's just the fact that he was willing to leave this woman behind who he had the hots for and who could, who can make all of his dreams come true. Like he's willing to throw that away for this little girl, and so that she can have that friendship. And then, even though that happens, he's able to, and this is only in the manga. In the manga, since he had that experience where he's almost going to run away from Makima, but then he goes and sees her and falls in love with her again, and he never wants to leave her side. Like it just adds more complexity to his already complex character. It's just like more of a 180. Like he's actually willing to act on his feelings and running away from her.
The
But
anime
now
did it though.
Huh? No, but he
Well,
was
not
going,
with
he was
the
going
month.
to like he was really like, let's run away together. Like
Yeah,
let's
I
just do
honestly
this all
feel
the way.
like it was against his character at that point. Like, I feel like Fujimoto was still trying to figure things out a bit. I feel
know.
like in retrospect, it does not play as well as it did just reading through the first time.
Well, like if you think about like just the fact it makes his relationship with Pochita just that much more.
Yeah, I think
critical.
it enhances that aspect of it. But I feel like the whole like immediately wanting to run away with Makima thing doesn't track as well in hindsight.
Well,
I don't know.
I feel like the anime kind of covered some of those bases too. Like just like seeing his reaction when Makima says like, "Oh no, you smell like human and devil. I'm pretty sure your devil friend is still alive inside of you." And just the animators just like you just see Denji like melt in like happiness. He's just like, "Oh, I was so worried. Like, oh, I've got you, Pochita. We'll get some food in you." And then when he's walking with Aki, he even says just like, "Is Makima like evil?"
Yeah.
Like he just straight out says it like episode 2, and I'm like, oh wow, all right, we're putting the breadcrumb there. Like he's already like starting to realize that maybe things are not as good as it seems, but then
And it
he
just yeah,
then he shoves that all away while he's kicking Aki in the nuts and saying like,
Yeah.
if as long as I get all these things, I'm living the best life I've ever lived. So I'm gonna
And
keep on doing it.
to clarify, I don't think that him questioning Makima's like morality or anything like that is out of character for him. I think the whole "I want to run away" is out of character.
well, I think
Yeah.
the fact like seeing him actually run away would be intense. Like we don't see that though. Like he's willing to act though. Like
Yeah,
he's
but
taking that.
I mean, the only reason we don't see it is because it turns out the muscle devil is just manipulating the girl, and it's not actually what she wants, right?
Right. I don't know. I think that it just really just adds more to his character, and it makes it so much sadder, because if he did leave, his life would be so much better. And it's just the fact that like he was questioning it, like, is she evil? It's the fact that he was already beginning to think something was wrong, but he doesn't act on it. And that's what's just so sad, because it's like if he just acted on, like he knew. Like he knew something wasn't right, but then he was able to be manipulated. I feel like this is
Yeah, but
like
he
the fact
still
that Makima is
knows.
so
I mean,
manipulative.
like as Jason said, he still knows that there's something off here, but he still accepts the manipulation because he's living a better life than he lived before. Like it's like what he says to Aki, where it's like, well, if I die as a devil hunter, I don't care because I'm living a good life here, right? And that sort of mentality makes the whole like, oh, maybe we should run away thing not seem as in line with his character, in my opinion. And I get that it does enhance, like, it goes back to the whole relationship that he had with Pochita, but like, I think the anime has already done a very good job showing off that relationship, like, as Jason said as well. And so it's like, I feel like taking that scene out is actually good because it takes away this sort of out of character moment. I view it as out of character, at least, so I'm happy it's gone.
You guys are helping me. Like I could have thought of this a while ago, but like I feel like that being in the manga, like Denji didn't realize it at that point. And it still took all the way till the end of Chainsaw Man Part 1 for him to realize it. But he wasn't necessarily like, of course he wants to touch boobs and, he wants a relationship and all that stuff. But really at the end of the day, he just, is desperate to have like a family or people to care about him. So when that little girl is in a similar situation that he was at the beginning of the manga, he instantly was just like, okay, well, yeah, let's go do this. I'll run away with you because he didn't realize it at the time, I'm sure, but all he wanted was, is to have some sort of family, essentially.
And it's also human nature to want to revert back to what you're familiar with.
Right, and hold on, but at the end of Part 1, he gets that. Something you guys said is just like, if he had run away with that little girl, if it wasn't, being orchestrated by the muscle devil and all that stuff, it would be a very different story. And it's just like, well, not really. Like the end of Part 1, he ends up being the caretaker for a little girl. He ends up getting that sort of like family relationship. And honestly, all this stuff that we're seeing right now probably still would have happened. Because War Devil still would have come out of, hell and looking for Denji and stuff like that.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think that he wouldn't have gone through the growth that he went through, right?
Yeah. No,
like I think it would be he'd have a very relationship to that girl that he does with Nayuta.
It's not like a Raiders of the Lost Ark type of thing where Indy didn't have to even be in the story.
Yeah. So,
oh my God, you're blowing my mind right now.
No, I only know that because it's not me. It's because of Big Bang Theory. I didn't come up with that.
Ah, jeez. I'll never watch that. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What you got, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it would be very different, but
yeah.
I'm just happy that the anime didn't include, because also the pacing didn't work out. So.
And also too, and to be devil's advocate, devil. It is what it is doing really well is during this time we do not see Denji transform, and it just kind of ups like we want to see Chainsaw again. We haven't seen it since episode 1. Like even though it's only been one episode, it's like I want to see him transform again. And if they had included that scene, then we would have seen him transformed. This way, they're keeping it more like, in the background. It's like, yeah, you're not going to see Chainsaw Man yet. We're going to stay with Denji for a bit. So I mean, definitely. But yeah, all in all, like beautiful. Like I remember I was freaking out when I was watching the first episode. Like I just remember like the atmosphere was freaking gorgeous. Like just everything was perfect. Like I fell in love with Denji and Pochita's relationship more than I did when I was reading the manga. Like it just did a wonderful job of capturing what they had. It was just I am loving what they're doing, and I'm so excited to see what's coming next. Because also too, like there's also the and I did an article on this one too. that they added a scene that doesn't happen until the later 30 chapter 30 or something,
Yeah, which
where
scene?
where so they introduce the door that Pochita is behind. Well, we think it's Pochita,
It's
but it's actually his memories. Yeah, like that's something we don't see until sometime after chapter 30, and I think it's great that they're bringing it in now just because it's so important to Denji's backstory, because like in the manga, like we like when I first saw it, I was like, oh man, I thought it was Pochita behind it, but it's actually his suppressed memories of the fact that he killed his own father, and
What?
Makima opened that door for
I don't remember
him to show him
that.
that he never. Yeah,
wait,
like
really?
yes, it was
Yeah.
actually his repressed memories, and Makima was like using that as an example to be like, you do not deserve to have a perfect life. You are, you don't deserve that. Like you are just a vessel for Chainsaw Devil type of thing. So it's that type of way to break him down. But yeah, so what's behind that door is that repressed memory, and I think that's beautiful that they're bringing it in earlier because it just
I
makes it
don't
all the more
remember that.
important.
When did they reveal that he
Out.
killed his father?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that was like one of the big things that happened around the power death
yeah.
time.
Like yeah, so it was like when Makima was basically just telling him everything, like her evil plan, like they do in
Yeah.
comics. Like that was one of the things. Like yeah,
While
yeah.
she's like petting him with all of her dogs and stuff?
It was right after
Yeah.
that. So it was right after.
Oh,
Yeah, he
okay.
shot Power, and then she's like starts revealing everything. Like yeah, I've just been using you. I want. I don't think that you're not good enough to have the chainsaw devil type of thing. It was
Oh
part of
man.
that. It was just breaking him down.
Maybe I
It was
just
just like, oh my god.
maybe I just blocked it out because the power thing was so traumatic for me. But
Yeah, because it was a big moment when it happened.
yeah, because
Yeah,
all I really remember is her being like, you want to be my dog?" And he was just like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Okay, well, you got to prove your loyalty to me." And then the doorbell rings, is how I remember
oh,
it. So I'll need to
Yeah,
go.
well, it happened
oh no, it was
after.
after that. It was after that.
It was right after that.
I think it was
Oh,
like in the
okay.
next chapter. So
All
after
right.
Yeah.
like blew her brains out. Yeah.
Yeah, because initially Denji was like after the power death, he was like, what just happened? Why
Yeah.
you know? And then Makima has to like
Okay,
break him down further.
I was probably in the same boat as Denji, where I'm just like in shock, and I was reading all that, and it just was going in and out of my head. I'll have to go back and read that, but specifically not read the panels of the door opening again.
Well,
Uh,
I just know, like, too, like, it really impacted me because I got something really wrong. Because I was excited when I first saw the door that it would be kind of like Naruto's relationship with Kurama.
yeah,
Just because, where they go in that alternate dimension and Kurama's in the cage. I thought that was that type of thing. And then I was like, oh, wait, it's actually much darker than that.
it's
I was
actually
completely wrong.
it's actually way smarter than that. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like, man, Steven, come on, get it together.
Well,
Think like Fujimoto, man. Think like Fujimoto.
yeah, right. Get to his level. That was
My brain would explode.
the world. There can be only one. I was really enjoyed my favorite character's introduction in the anime. I thought they nailed Power's introduction.
Oh
I,
yeah.
I loved it, and the Japanese voice actress is just killing it, and it just really, as soon as I read her first big moment, like in the manga where she crushes the sea cucumber devil and just makes the biggest mess possible, I was just like, oh, this is gonna be great in the anime. Like, I cannot wait for her just to like giant mallet this big gush of blood and it just explodes everywhere. And I loved how the episode ended with that, and Denji just being like, oh, so that's power, okay.
Yeah.
And what I think is great too, because like a buddy of mine who's watching it, he doesn't read manga, so he's doing this all first.
Mm.
And but I'm just so happy where he's like, I like the chick with the horns. I'm like, yes, you do, because power is awesome.
Yes, you will.
Yes, you do.
But also, I think Denji not transforming in this episode also just leads into when he does finally transform, probably in the next episode, it's going to be, you know,
Punch you in the face.
yeah, a big punch in the face and a big, like, whoa, because I feel like if he transformed in this, it would just make it so, like, oh, okay, that's just something Denji does. Like, he's always just going to be transforming. But, like, making it, you know, a big moment when he transforms
Yeah,
is going to
I
be so
agree.
much more beneficial. I think, especially, I'm really curious how far they're going to go in this first season of the anime. I really am doubtful that they'll adapt all of part one.
Oh,
No, they're
Jesus
not.
Christ!
No,
No.
they're
If
not.
they
It's
do, I'll
one
be so mad.
core.
Oh, I'll
It's
start
it's
punching people.
it's one core, so it's like 12 episodes. So they're probably not even going to make it to the Bomb Devil arc.
Oh
Oh
man, I
no.
hope so. I hope that we get to Rize.
Well, I mean, she's not in the opening. She's not in the any of the like. I don't think we're going to get to the Bomb Devil. We might meet Rays like just in human form as like a teaser for the next arc, but I don't think we're going to actually get to it. I think it's going to end on the whole Katana Man and them trying to take down Makima sort of thing.
I thought that whole arc was amazing.
Oh, it is. So I'm very excited.
No,
for them to
it is
get
just
to
like
it.
like when he's like, "Oh my God, you're leaving Makima!" Like, what are you doing? You should,
Yeah.
but no. But then it happens, and I'm like, "Oh my God, no, so good."
Yeah,
No,
no,
I love
it's gonna
Chainsaw
be a
Man.
great arc.
I love Chainsaw Man.
I think they're just gonna make it to there because they've shown the Katana Man in the OP. They've shown the woman with the Snake Devil in the OP. Like it just seems like they're gonna build to that arc. And I'm here for it. I think
Oh
that's
man,
good pacing.
If they do
yeah.
all part one in this, I will literally, I
They
will turn
can.
into Chainsaw Man, and I'll just start sawing everyone.
If they do
Whoa.
if they do all of part one, it's gonna be terrible because 12 episodes you can't fit that in.
No,
Not
no,
enough
no.
time. So, but yeah, it's I'm very happy, and also another benefit going back to what you said about Chainsaw Man not being in the episode is now we don't have to deal with people online complaining about the CGI.
Oh man, I am so over people complaining about CGI, especially after going to see Dragon Ball Superhero. Like that movie was just so good looking, and I'm a proponent of CGI animation, especially as a Naruto Ninja Storm fan. Like they just I've put so many tears into replaying that game because I just love how dramatic and how well they're able to animate some of the fight scenes using the full CGI Storm engine, and I just think in the right hands, it's absolutely possible, and it doesn't bother me at all. So
Well,
I
and
agree.
I think though that they did a good job though. Like the actual saws around it. Like there's a point where the camera was like high and to at an angle looking down at Chainsaw Man or Denji, I should say. And the way that he's portrayed, like he's CGI'd, but the way they drew the actual chains going around, it was drawn. So you can tell like there's or it looked drawn. And I remember watching them like, wow, they actually did a really good job of trying to hide the fact that it's CGI a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't
yeah.
personally have complaints with the CGI either. It's just all the people complaining.
Yeah.
Like they
I
did it
did-
when
Nope, nope.
Attack on Titan season 4 was coming out. They were like, "Look at all the CGI! Ew, get it out of here!"
The whole thing is
they're doing it
CGI
now.
whenever they're using their Omni equipment.
Yeah, it's but they don't care because they're like, but CGI Titans though. And,
Well, as somebody who's like in season 3 of the anime of Attack on Titan, and I'm not going to be getting into spoilers on any of that for anybody who's not caught up on it, but I just think that so many people just are so ignorant when it comes to how anime is created, and especially with like Attack on Titan, there's a scene where like Levi is being pursued by people trying to kill him, and he's just like using his Omni gear to go in and out of buildings, and it's this amazing like shot where you're following through his perspective, like dipping between buildings and going side to side and stuff, and it looks amazing. I think people don't
Yeah.
realize like half of that is CGI. Like
It is, yeah.
yeah, they have
Yeah.
to CGI like the environments, and some of it might be drawn, but it just making a good anime these days combines all of these aspects. Like, yeah, I just think so many people just want to be mad at something.
Oh
I
yeah.
will say though, like when I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh god, oh god. Like I was one of those people, like, oh no. But it works though.
Yeah,
Like I
absolutely.
mean, of course I'd like it to be drawn, but it's not like, oh my god, I hate this. It's just what it is, and
Let's go.
it's not bad.
Let's go
It's not
back
that.
to 1930s Snow White animation, back when it was good.
Oh man, that
I agree
animation was great. I
actually.
watched that the other day with my kids. It's so
Uh,
good.
Yeah, the old Disney stuff is just
Oh,
really
Of
well.
course,
that animation is
I'm
on
not saying
point.
it's bad. I'm just saying like we can't do things like that anymore because it just took so much time and human effort.
Well, and they literally had like hundreds of people working just on drawing. And
Yeah.
now it's like they had a whole army to draw. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't happen.
And now they still do have hundreds of people working away in the sweatshop of Mappa.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
and Disney too.
yeah.
Check out any Marvel special effects credits.
Well, yeah, it's just changed to a different studio setting.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, I feel like we're kind of we're kind of moving away. But any more thoughts on Chainsaw Man before we go into plugs and recommendations, gentlemen?
that's it for me.
I think we're good. We talked about a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, definitely excited for the next one. Chainsaw Man is coming out more regularly than One Piece at this point, which is kind of heartbreaking for me. One Piece seems to be going on a break every 3 weeks, which is a
Well, that's what
Needs
it's
it,
been
man.
doing for the past couple years.
Dude, that guy just needs it, man.
he does. Oh
I
yeah,
know. Like
oh yeah,
they had to force Oda to do that, but I think it's the healthy sort of work
Yes.
schedule for him. And
Yes.
it's not a new thing either. It's been happening for
yeah.
a long time.
Yeah, just as I said earlier, I'm kind of slow to picking up on some things. So I just now
Oh,
realized
no.
that it's just like, oh no, it's every 3 weeks, isn't it? Bummer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been an excellent time talking Chainsaw Man with you, gentlemen. We'll definitely be doing it again next week, where we'll have chapter 108 and a new episode of the anime to talk about. But I'm Jason Hahn. This has been Mega Manga Mondays, episode of Chainsaw Man 107. And I hope that you'll check out other episodes of Mega Manga Monday. Follow us on Twitter for updates at Manga Mondays. And we have a website with all of our podcasts too, Mega Manga Mondays, all one word, .podbean.com. And you can also listen to us on, I think we're on Apple, we're definitely on Spotify and YouTube, all kinds of stuff. But I, Jason Hahn, also have a YouTube channel called Honzy and Friends. I like to stream on Sundays and Wednesdays. I've been streaming some Overwatch 2 lately. Recently played the new God of War on PlayStation 5. Not the new
What?
one. Not the new
Oh,
one.
stop doing that.
Well, I'll tell you when I'm playing Ragnarok. Goddamn. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun on the channel. Always up for playing with fans and stuff like that. So definitely check me out on there. Also, Screen Rant. I've got plenty of articles on Screen Rant. I've been doing game reviews lately. Yeah, you can find pretty much any bit of news that you need for manga, anime, movies, video games. Screen Rant's got you covered. Yeah, how about you, Steven? Any plugs or recommendations today?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that I'm really happy with the latest direction of Dan to Dan. I've been kind of unhappy lately, and which really hurts, but I've been really enjoying these last few chapters, especially, probably because there's romance in it. But yeah, loving the heck out of it. And I am still enraptured with Manga Plus's Make the Exorcist Fall in Love, like their
Okay.
newest chapter. Yeah, it just came out, and it just whacks you right in the face, because it's like it's got those really cute moments, but then it can get really insanely gory into crazy taboo world land, and that's where we are right now. And Make the Exorcist Fall in Love. So just really enjoying that. And I'll just say too, like I think I mentioned in the last podcast, but just doing a few more interviews recently. And actually, I got an email back from Crunchyroll they finally got back to me with the musical director for the Chainsaw Man anime. Like his write ups just came in my box.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean it's very even though it's written very reticent, so there's not that much there. But I'll still be posting that at some point. So.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I'll have a link to Steven's Screen Rant articles in the description, and also to his recommendations. I'll have those listed there. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I've got some Western comics to actually recommend this week. If
How
any of
dare
y'all
you.
are into, I know, right?
We're a worldwide podcast here, man. Just recommend away.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a big DC fan, and they released two things this week that I think could be of interest. If you like the Harley Quinn TV show, they released a new run of the comics there, and it's very fun so far, picking up right where the show left off. If you're a fan of
Wait,
that, definitely
really?
check it out. Yeah, no, it's Harley
Oh,
Quinn
crap,
animated
it's-
series Legion of Bats.
Oh snap! I didn't see that. Yeah, because I just read the what was it, the Bang Kill Eat.
Yeah,
Tour.
Eat Kill Bang Tour. Yeah.
Oh snap! There's
Or
a new one.
Eat Bang Kill Tour, yeah. But yeah, there's a new one, and
Oh,
I'm
nice.
actually enjoying it more than the Eat Bang Kill Tour so far. So definitely
Awesome.
check that out if that's something that interests you. And also, if you want just a good one-shot comic, Batman One Bad Day Penguin is very good. It's the Penguin trying to go into Gotham and reclaim his empire after someone takes it from him, and it's very fun. And then in terms of plugs, I've got a YouTube channel of my own called YGO from Zero, where I go over historical formats of the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game. So if that's something that interests you, definitely check that out.
Excellent. Well, I'll have all of those comic recommendations and, of course, links to Ben's channel and his Screen Rant articles as well. But yeah, as I said, follow us on Twitter. Feel free to reach out to us. Let us know if there's anything that you think we missed on our Chainsaw Man discussion. We'd love to hear from you. Also, would love to hear what your favorite parts are of either the anime or the current manga that's going on, or what you think will happen next. But as far as what happens next, we'll be here to talk about it on Mega Manga Mondays next week. So look forward to the next one.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll just want to quickly add, season 2 of To Your Eternity is coming out on Sunday. Watch that.
Let's go.
Yes.
I haven't heard of that. I'll check that out.
Oh, you should. It's real good.
It'll make you cry.
I like crying sometimes. All right. Well, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for your time today, guys, and I'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, see you then.
Peace.